Once upon a time, there was a boy named Benny, who might have looked a bit clueless but was actually a sweet boy. Now, in Benny's class, everyone aced their tests with flying colors except Benny. Every time he got his test back, it was like a broken record. Single-digit scores. His classmates would burst into laughter, making him the class clown. Feeling down and thinking he was the dimmest bulb in the box, Benny poured his heart out to his mom. He told her he was just not smart enough to do well in school. But his mom wasn't having any of that. She kept cheering him on, telling him he could achieve big things in life. Now picture this. Benny's story starts in the same old classroom. Surprise, surprise. Benny scores a big fat 0 on his latest test. A girl in class loudly declares he got nothing, and even the teacher, instead of being upset, seems oddly pleased. She thinks a 9 is an improvement for Benny. Imagine that. But the drama doesn't end there. Oh no, it gets worse. The class erupts in laughter, treating Benny's poor scores like a daily sitcom. It doesn't stop at giggles either. People start making fun of Benny whenever they see him. Bullies even latch onto him, making his life miserable. Poor Benny is followed around, not because he's popular, but for all the wrong reasons. Things take a darker turn when Benny, feeling the frustration, loses control and ends up punching a guy with a lock in his hand. Ouch! The principal calls in Benny's mom and warns her about the incident. Then he drops another bomb. Benny's report card is a disaster, failing in almost every subject. Not exactly good news for his mom. Now, Benny's confidence takes a massive hit, and he keeps telling his mom, Sonia, that he's just not smart. But here's where the plot thickens. One day, Benny finally asks his mom for help with his studies. Sonia, trying to dodge the situation, says she needs a new reading glass. Sneaky move, right? But Sonia, being the smart mom she is, eventually figures out Benny's real problem. It turns out he can't see well, especially those tiny words in his books. Guess what happens next? Benny gets his glasses, and bam, his grades start going up. He aces class tests and even nails the spelling competition. Now, Benny heads to church one Sunday morning for a sermon. The minister there is like a superstar speaker, full of motivation. He shares a story about a doctor, and that's when Benny's imagination kicks in. In his mind, Benny becomes the doctor, facing off against a pirate. This imagination takes him to a whole new world of learning and growing. Excited, Benny rushes home and spills the beans to his mom. He wants to be a doctor. But here's the twist. Sonia, his mom, isn't thrilled. She's noticed the boy spending too much time glued to the TV. Feeling down, she visits a psychiatric facility and opens up to a doctor. Her life story unfolds. No school, married at 13, a hidden truth about her husband's other family and involvement in drug dealing. Sonia, now a single mom working as a cleaner, is facing a tough battle with her mental health. The doctor suggests she take a break, get admitted for a few days. Worried but determined, Sonia decides to go through with it. She leaves the boys in the care of an elderly woman and asks them to memorize their multiplication tables. Reluctant but with no choice, the boys comply. While Sonia is away, Bernie, her son, writes her a heartfelt letter, full of spelling mistakes, but touching nonetheless. Back at home, Bernie surprises everyone by acing a class test, 24 out of 25. Sonia rushes home to share the news with their caregiver, Scott, only to find her mom back home. Overjoyed, Bernie shares his progress and shows off his stellar marks. Sonia couldn't be prouder. She keeps motivating Bernie, and things start looking up. Sonia, now with a cleaning job at a wise person's house, discovers a room filled with countless books. Inspired, she returns home and catches the boys watching TV. She switches it off and lays down some new rules. Library visits, reading 2 books a week, and only 2 TV programs after homework. The boys, initially frustrated, listen to their mom. They enroll in the library, develop a reading habit, and even start learning from TV. They dive into a quiz show to broaden their minds. And guess what? Benny's newfound love for learning pays off big time. The class teacher throws a challenge, asking about a rock. No one knows, except Benny, who confidently identifies it as obsidian. He even goes on to explain how obsidian is formed. The teacher is amazed by the depth of knowledge from this young bunch. Quite the turnaround. After class, Bernie's teacher asks for a chat. They meet. And bam, the teacher drops a bombshell, saying Bernie has unlocked the power of his brain. Pretty wild, right? From then on, Bernie nails it in class, rocking the spelling competition. But hold up, the teacher seems kinda unhappy. Still, she's got no choice but to admit that Bernie is the winner. Fast forward to the big annual award show. The principal announces Bernie as the school's top student overall. His mom and bro, sitting in the audience, look just as proud as Bernie. He grabs his certificate, feeling on top of the world. But then, the teacher drops a shocker. She goes on the mic and spills some racist nonsense, saying the other students should be ashamed because Bernie, a black kid raised by a single mom, outshone them all. Talk about deep-seated prejudice. This racist incident shakes Bernie's mom to the core. She decides to enroll him in a place where his talents can shine no matter the color of his skin. Bernie ends up in a school where most students are black, and he faces some bullying for his not-so-trendy clothes. But hey, he fires back in his own way and makes a fashionista friend. Now, this buddy of his is all about the cool clothes and hats, making Bernie feel a bit insecure. He asks his mom for cash to step up his fashion game. Mom chips in, buys him a new pair of pants, but Bernie's not feeling it. They argue, and things get heated. Bernie even grabs a hammer. Luckily, his bro steps in to save the day. Bernie gets mixed up with some sketchy friends, and his fashionista buddy takes him to a gang where he buys a knife. Things get heated, words are exchanged, and Bernie stabs his friend. Lucky for them, the knife was busted, so no major harm. Bernie, freaked out, bolts from the school. It's a twist of fate, really, because he ditches the toxic crew and learns to tame his temper. Guess what? Bernie lands a scholarship at Yale, a fancy college. There, he meets Candy, his girlfriend. But college life ain't a walk in the park for him. Lectures are a drag, and adjusting is tough. He spills the beans to Candy. He's only good at reading. Candy steps up, saying he can study on his own. Bernie dives into his books day and night, wrestling with the toughest subject, chemistry. His hard work pays off big time in the exam. Bernie aces it and sets his sights on becoming a neurosurgeon. Hold on to your seats because Dr. Carson's journey is far from over. So, Bernie sets his sights on Johns Hopkins, the big league in the US for brainy stuff. They're only taking 2 residents for the neurosurgeon gig. Super intense competition. Bernie's dead set on getting in, and he rocks the interview. His confidence impresses the doc, especially when he spills his thoughts on the brain being this mysterious wonder. Bernie believes in miracles and wants to be the miracle worker. The interviewer is sold, and Bernie secures his spot at Johns Hopkins, continuing to shine bright. But here's the kicker. Not everyone's a fan of Bernie, now Dr. Carson. A senior doc throws shade, sounding all racial and telling him to do as asked. Despite the drama, Dr. Carson faces a life-or-death situation. An emergency case pops up, and he's the only doctor in sight. No license, not eligible, but he jumps in and saves the day. Risking his whole dream career, he pulls off a miracle. Expecting a scolding, he's surprised when the senior doc appreciates his guts to save a life. Now, the hospital saga continues. A young girl with constant seizures shows up. Dr. Carson suggests a hemispherectomy, risky business that could mess with her speaking and moving skills. He assures the parents the brain's a champ at recovery, but it's a gamble. He's never done this before, but he steps up to the plate. The night before, he's anxious, praying. Come morning, he operates with precision. It's judgment time. Everyone's on edge. The girl's not responding, moved to the ward, and Dr. Carson briefs the parents. It'll take a while to know if she's okay, but like magic, the girl calls out to her parents. Dr. Carson conquers the first of many challenges. The media goes wild in a press conference, and he spills the beans on the brain's miraculous powers. His hemispherectomy becomes the go-to method for future cases. Now buckle up for the next chapter in Dr. Carson's roller coaster journey. So, he's hitting it big in his professional life, but his personal life takes a hit. His wife is expecting a baby, but tragedy strikes. They lose the child, stillborn. Dr. Carson sticks by his wife's side, but she urges him to head back to the hospital and do his duty. It's tough, but he listens, breaking down as he thinks about his heartbreaking loss. His mom steps in, offering comfort and reminding him that he can still save lives and achieve his dreams. The next day, he returns to work, facing his most challenging operation yet. He's invited to Germany as a consultant for the complex task of separating conjoined twins. At first, he hesitates due to the case's complexity, but being the top child neurosurgeon globally, he takes the risk. Dr. Carson dives into research day and night, prepping for the big day. D-Day arrives. The parents of the twins come from Germany, and Dr. Carson, along with a team of 50 staff members, gears up for the operation. They've got backup plans for every machine, rehearsing tirelessly to avoid any mistakes. This case allows zero room for error. 2 groups of doctors get ready, each focusing on one child. The operation kicks off at 7:15 in the morning, involving cardiothoracic surgeons to prevent bleeding. The blood flow to the brain is temporarily stopped through a cardiac procedure, and then the intricate process of separating the brains begins. Dr. Carson's got a tight schedule, only an hour to complete it. Going over that time risks brain damage, a failure from the start. But, true to form, he nails it on time, and the marathon surgery concludes after a grueling 22 hours. Dr. Carson meets with the parents, delivering the news of the miraculous success in this highly complex operation. So it is the Dr. Carson's extraordinary journey. Please like, share, and subscribe.